to Brewsers, a podcast about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. I am your host, Rody John, and today we talk to Nikki Duke, otherwise known as Ariel Sky from WOW, Women of Wrestling. We talk all about her background in gymnastics, how she got into WOW, and her personal struggles. Now, this is such a fun conversation, so you will find out that we do cut off just very quickly and abruptly toward the end of the conversation. I was recording this in my car during the heat, and my phone overheated. So the thing is, we luckily were able to get as much audio as we could. However, we were not able to finish the interview. So obviously, Nikki, aka Ariel, is more than welcome to come back anytime she'd like. So definitely make sure to listen to this interview and reach out to her and say, "Hey, I loved you on Bruisers. Please come back and finish up the conversation." So fingers crossed for one day. But while you're doing all that, make sure to sign up for our newsletter. It comes out every week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, along with the show. You get to find out even more about our guests, fun facts, and more about your favorite podcast, all about beer, coffee, booze, and bruisers. So without further ado, here is Nikki Duke, a.k.a. Ariel Sky. I would like to welcome to the show Nikki Duke. You also may know her as Ariel Sky in Women of Wrestling. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Hey, how are you? I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well. So for those, I can see you right now, but for those listening, kind of paint a word picture for us. Where are you at? What are you doing? What's happening for you today?
Well, literally right now, it's not that great of a picture. I'm sitting in my kitchen talking to you, chugging an energy drink, hopefully going to go to the gym in a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to talk to you today about Ariel Sky, the newest WOW Women of Wrestling superhero.
That's right. Now, I guess let's go all the way back to the beginning. What is your earliest memory of pro wrestling?
Of professional wrestling?
Yes, ma'am.
I will not lie. I was not like a huge fan growing up. So my earliest memory of professional wrestling is probably getting body slammed by my brother, like on the concrete floor, probably, knowing us. I have an older brother, so I was a huge tomboy growing up. I guess I was wrestling then, but didn't know it because probably was just getting beat up because I had no choice. If I wanted to play, it was going to be whatever they wanted. So, yeah. It's
true. Yeah. So how many other siblings? Is it just one older brother?
Just one older brother. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I have a younger brother, and I would constantly put wrestling moves on him, and he got to the point where he would lock his legs up just so I wouldn't do any leg moves on him, and he perfected that really well.
Yeah, after a while, us small younger siblings need to fight back, and I think I did.
Yes, and now look at you. You're doing it for a profession. So who would have known?
Yeah, right. Those I will not admit this to my brother, but those maybe shaped me into the human that I am today. So I will thank him on here, but not in real life. I will not admit that to him.
Oh, of course not. No, this I will completely edit this part out. It never happened. There's no record of it. Now, you were a gymnast also for a very long time. How did you get into? How old were you when you got into gymnastics?
I was probably like 4.5, 5. We'll just say 5. Okay. So how I got into gymnastics, my mother might remember it differently, but this is how it actually happens. I would just go bananas around my house. So my mother had my brother, which he's 2 years older, and then myself. And I would just be like bouncing off of everything, like doing flips off of like stuff. And my mother was like, this kid needs to like do something. So my neighbor is my mother's best friend, and growing up she had like older sons, and I think they were doing like soccer and other stuff, and she had won, it was like either like a free class or like a free like session for a local gymnastics place. And she won it at a tricky tray. For apparently tricky trays are only things in New Jersey. So if you're confused what that is.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
exactly. I guess
So
explain to people outside of New Jersey what that is.
So I didn't know recently that was just a New Jersey thing. But anyways, it's just like, I think it's like, it could be like a fundraiser of any sort, but it was like for the school. And they would just like raise money, and they would just like different baskets for like different businesses would like contribute. So this one was a gymnastics thing. And the neighbor had given it to my mother. And she was like, oh my God, I have to do something with this kid. So it was like perfect timing. And I don't recall the first class, but I just remember being there. And since 4 years old, my mother was just like, oh, okay, well, that one free tricky tray ticket cost her like a lifetime of gymnastics, because I was hooked instantly.
That's so awesome. I saw also that you were a junior Olympic competitor as well. What was that process like? And then I guess going from there, which I had to look it up, Junior Olympics is only 15 to 18 for people who don't know. How did you go? Why did you not, I guess, go to the Olympics? I mean, obviously, I imagine it's crazy harder, but what was I guess, let's go through the Junior Olympic process first. And then I imagine the Olympic process. Came in your mind.
I understand your question. So I feel like almost to a fault sometimes, like I know, I don't want to say which path my life is going to be, but I specifically remember one gymnastics practice. I had just switched gyms because my coach had left, and this gym that I was switching to had like the top coach. So I was like, okay, like obviously if I want to be the best, I'm going to go find the top coach. And I just remember being at gymnastics practice one day in the summer, and I guess I was getting towards that age where I was a competitive junior Olympic gymnast. And I hate to like take away from that, but what that really means is that those are the competitive girls that have, they're on a team. They switch it every so often. And I believe right now the way it's going is like level like 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you would go on to like Olympics from there kind of deal. But again, they switch it. And I remember I was in level 8, and I was on bars, and I just like had this weird talk to myself. I just was like I don't want to go to the Olympics, and like not saying that like, oh, it would be that easy, like I don't want to go. It just was like I knew my gymnastics career was approaching or coming to an end in the sense of, okay, like once you're at a certain level, if I didn't want to go to the Olympics, then what am I doing, kind of thing. And then ironically, my career did come to an end, kind of not by choice. I had torn my ACL in my right knee. I remember when it had happened, I actually was at a gymnastics meet, and I like did something on vault, and I said to my coach, I was like, oh, my knee feels a little weird. And he was just like patted me on the back, and he was like, you're fine, go continue. And I did, and it ended up being torn. So I finished the gymnastics meet and like kind of like didn't know something was wrong, because I like did. But anyways, then from there, I just knew gymnastics still needed to be a part of my life. I started coaching gymnastics and so forth. But sorry to get off track. The initial question was gymnastics. So yeah, the Olympic was just not for me. I guess I knew at that age, there was going to be something else. I didn't know the extent of gymnastics that was always going to be in my life. I knew I wanted it to some part, and the fact that I could sit here today and that I was able to combine gymnastics with professional wrestling, and you mix that together and you get Ariel Sky, who is your newest and latest WOW Women of Wrestling superhero. I just think that's the coolest thing ever, because this is my job. And I'm just like, okay, I've always knew my life would revolve around the gym or gymnastics, but to be able to do it on this kind of platform for Wow Women of Wrestling on CBS, like, pinch me. Like, is this real?
Right.
I still am not sure. So I'll get back to you on that, because this just feels like a dream that I don't want to wake up from.
I completely understand. And somebody should not pinch you so that you don't realize this is not a dream, because going from that, I mean, like you said, the Olympics are a completely different level, and those people are just beast freak athletes we'll just go swimming. Michael Phelps, that dude, with that body frame, like, what else was he going to do? Like, I'm glad he found swimming because, and he's perfect for it. And then obviously,
Right.
With everything we've seen with the women's gymnastics, they've done amazing things. And Simone Biles has been absolutely amazing when it comes for being a spokesperson for mental health, that, you can even tell from there that mentally she couldn't compete in some of these other categories, just because, again, you have to be on the same page mentally and physically,
Right.
And the fact that you tore an ACL and competed even further, probably not the best thing, but it shows just how tough you are as well. Now, what was it like, I guess, coming out of that, recovering from that ACL tear?
Truthfully, I feel so. I had an ACL, meniscus, and then another one. So I had 2 knee surgeries. And the last one I had was my senior year of high school.
That's
and
fun.
yeah, it really just was such a bummer, man. If high school wasn't tough enough, like, speaking of like mental and like, I'll just say I hated high school. You could not pay, well, you could pay me enough money to go back,
Oh, for
but
sure. Yeah.
it would be at least $1 million, at least.
Yeah.
But I feel like, man, my knee surgery, the last one, really hit me at a really, really rough time, because I didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, because apparently it's senior year of high school. You're supposed to know. You have to know everything. Yeah. You have to know it all, and you can't steer from it. I did have this wild dream that I literally was like, okay, I'm going to stay home, not going to go to college the first year. I'm going to focus on like the gym, blah, 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 this, and I'm going to make a career from it. And it's wild saying this and like watching my reaction, because in this moment, I think I just realized, like, I made that my dream. After my knee surgery, I started doing fitness competitions, bodybuilding competitions.
Oh, nice.
Hang tight. Sorry, someone is calling me. My phone was on do not disturb, but I guess not. I'm so sorry.
You're okay. Yeah.
So I started doing bodybuilding competitions, and it's funny because my gymnastics coach, I stayed in touch with him, and I was like, hey, Juan, like, I need you to train me, because I only know like gymnastics workouts. So I did research for bodybuilding competitions, got a separate coach, but like, I still was in the gym at like 18, 19. Like, I spent my summers at gymnastics, and I had my coach strength and condition me. And it's funny because I actually I just walked into a gym to rent space and kind of, focus on doing gymnastics to get ready for Wow Women of Wrestling, and just have a new move set and everything. And they had approached me, and they're like, oh, like, you did gymnastics, do you want to coach a strength and conditioning class? So anyways, I'm doing that now. But also, to get back on topic, so I started doing that. And then from there, I was like, okay, there's still maybe something more. Like, I need something more.